NBA teams and players play each other so frequently over the season that most plays, tendencies, tactics, and ideas are predictable. Being predictable doesn't mean the opponents can stop you. It simply means your next move can be anticipated, and that can cost you in clutch moments. That's why every now and then we come across NBA players using 100% of their brain and producing some epic 300 IQ plays. First, we have the epic steal from Marcelo Huertas. If you're talking about using your brain on the court, you have to talk about what Lakers Marcelo Huertas did versus the Heat in 2016. Heat's guard, Goran Dragic's on his way to mount an attack, completely focused, but has no idea that the player defending him, Huertas, is hiding behind Miami Heat coach Erik Spoelstra. As Dragic makes his way upfield, Huertas sneaks up on him with insane speed and steals the ball from him. Dragic was so completely hoodwinked by this sneak attack, and full credit to him for turning back immediately, but Huertas had already passed it up and started an attack for the Lakers instead. Nah, that's just brilliant and genius play from the Brazilian. But what we can't understand is how did Spoelstra not jump up and shout? Maybe we can call it a double sneak attack, because even Spoelstra had no idea about it. Up next, Vince Carter's fake injury. Everyone knows Vince Carter's arm in the bucket and jumping over a player to dunk. He's probably one of the greatest dunkers of all time. But he wasn't just an insane dunker. He was also an incredibly smart player who knew how to get a slight advantage, even if it wasn't entirely fair. Playing for the Mavs, Carter attempts a hit from distance, but has an awkward landing. Apparently. We say apparently because he's seen to be hobbling, but in fact, he's not actually injured. With under 2 seconds left on the clock, he runs to the basket, receives the pass, and dunks in perfect fashion. Injury? What injury? To be fair, he does walk off at halftime limping, but if you see that dunk, you'll argue that he wasn't injured. We love you, Carter. Thank you for this. That was epic. Then we have Avery Bradley's shoestrings. This is another classic. Actually, we don't know why more players don't do it, because it seems so effective, and it's just hilarious to see. Avery Bradley, when playing for the Celtics, saw his team down by 6 in the third with just over a minute to go. His side needed some inspiration, and what a brilliant time to tie your shoestrings. Bradley's jogging backwards as the Hawks come at them, and he's attempting to tie his shoestrings, but in reality, he's only just pretending to do so. The Hawks attempt to take him out of the game by passing to his marker, but Bradley intercepts and sprints to the other side, assisting an easy dunk. It's a brilliant play, and even better to see that as soon as Hollins makes the dunk, Bradley trots away without looking at his shoes. Next, fake timeout. The point guard generally is supposed to take the ball deep to the sideline and run the clock down and then call for a timeout. Audrey Miller was set to do just that, as his Blazers side was already halfway off the court, when suddenly he decided, nah, I'm gonna go score instead, and he did just that. This was so smoothly done, as the New Orleans Hornets were also half expecting a timeout and weren't ready for what happened. Although credit to Chris Paul, who was on the opposition and saw the clever move, because he went on to do the same thing playing for the Clippers later. Smart play from Miller, and even smarter from Chris Paul, who learned a new trick, wasn't afraid to try it, and managed to execute it to perfection. Next up, Yao Ming misses free throw. This particular play would have ranked much higher, maybe even at number 1 had it worked out. But that's the sad part. Sometimes smart plays aren't executed, but it doesn't mean they weren't a genius effort. Yao Ming was attempting to take a free throw with just over a second left on the clock, but his Houston side was 3 points down to the Lakers. That meant even if he scored it, the Lakers would run the second down and win the game, and that's why the Rockets needed something special. Yao Ming came up with just that, and he missed his free throw on purpose and passed it for a game-tying 3. But unluckily for the Rockets, the shot was missed by Rafer Alston. Then we have Russell Westbrook's quick thinking. Playing for the Thunder, Westbrook threw the ball off an opponent, not the player who was guarding him, but another opponent guarding a teammate, and made the shot, beating the buzzer. Oh, this is so filthy. One of the most fantastic moments in the NBA, and Westbrook's quick thinking deserves all the praise. Then again, this trick's quite common, and we've seen many players execute it to perfection, but if memory serves us right, it's very rare for someone to do it off another player, and not just the one guarding them. It seems like Westbrook has a knack for doing everything by himself. He doesn't even let his teammates pass the ball. He'd much rather do it all on his own. We're kidding. It was a fantastic play, and we hope things work out for Russ at the Lakers. Next is Kobe's steal. Final quarter, 25 seconds on the clock, and the Lakers are leading the Hornets by 2 points. The entire Hornets side accumulates in the arc to deny the ball to the Lakers. And while this looks quite simple, it's actually a fantastic move. Sometimes the simplest things are the most beautiful ones, and this is one of them. Kobe gets through the crowd, seizes the ball, and has a free run to the other side of the court, as there's no one else guarding the basket. He wraps it up with his signature dunk, signing off a famous win for the Lakers side. We get what the Hornets were trying to do, but how do you leave your basket open completely? Then again, you don't usually come up against Kobe and get away with risky ideas. And then we have Magic Johnson's great escape. This is considered to be the greatest greatest pass that Magic Johnson ever produced. And can you believe it was to nobody? Portland had a young team full of stars, and they kept coming, despite trailing by 15 not so long ago in the final quarter. They needed a moment of magic, and they produced it, pulling close, and the Lakers only had a point lead left when Porter made a shot and missed it. Magic Johnson reacted the quickest as he grabbed the ball with just 3 seconds on the clock, and then he gambled. Had he held on to it, he could have lost it, but he had the presence of mind to dispatch it to nobody on the other side of the court as the ball rolled tantalizingly out of bounds with only .01 on the clock. Johnson's magic pulled off the great escape for the Lakers. Now, Rajon Rondo's on-court coaching. This could easily be number one because we love what Rondo does here. It's not just smart thinking, but it's also brilliant planning and execution. With the Kings holding on to a 3-point lead, the Atlanta Hawks need a three-pointer with a second to go. Rondo somehow anticipates the exact play the Hawks will attempt, and before they can do that, he tells DeMarcus Cousins to stand in the corner, and Rondo remains the only Kings player in the arc, with everyone else guarding the three-point shot. It was superb thinking from Rondo, because the Hawks have no answer for it and lose the ball inside the arc as the clock runs out to a Rondo-led Kings victory. And then we have the 1976 Finals. The Suns in the 1976 Finals were a point down to the Boston Celtics. With a second to go, and a Suns player, Paul Westphal, came up with an incredible strategic decision that has gone down in history. It's considered to be the smartest play of all time, as the only possibility of tying the game or winning it was a cross-field shot, the chances of which are extremely low. Now the Suns didn't have to take time to make a foul either, so Westphal suggested calling for a timeout, even though they didn't have any left. As per the rules of that time, this would result in a free throw for the Celtics, but it wouldn't have mattered because the Suns, either way, needed the 2 points to avoid losing. They did just that, as the Celtics scored their free throw, but with a second left on the clock, the Suns inbounded to Garfield Hurd, who immediately shot from 18 feet to make the shot and tie the game. This forced the game into third overtime, but the Suns went on to lose it. Regardless of that, this remains an incredible move and contributed to making the 76 Finals the best game in the history of the NBA. That's a wrap for this video. Did we miss any smart play? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.